Hello and welcome to Monday's Granada Reports, live with the latest across the Northwest.
Hello, many thanks for joining us on the programme this evening.
The long road towards change. The three dads walking have their day in Parliament with a debate over whether suicide prevention should be taught in schools.
Bethy had a whole life ahead of her, and I think if a few things had been different, she would have made a better decision, basically.
A woman denies lying to police about a man accused of shooting 9-year-old Olivia Pratt-Corbell. We have the latest from court.
A picture's worth 1,000 words. How children are having their say on the climate debate through art.
And the Oscar goes to Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
The Oscar-winning puppets and the fairy tale ending made here in the Northwest.
And it was weather for the Ducks today, wet and windy, but they'll be skating on thin ice tonight. All the details coming up.
Well, first tonight, should suicide prevention be taught in schools, and if so, at what age? That's what MPs are debating because of the enormous efforts by three dads who lost their daughters to suicide.
We have reported on that determined campaign by the three dads walking many times. Now, their proposal to get suicide prevention onto the school curriculum has gone right to the top.
And their online petition has attracted 160,000 signatures.
Well, our correspondent Mel Barham is in London for us tonight. Mel, a big day for the three dads.
That's right, Lucy. This is an absolutely huge day for Mike, Andy and Tim, who have finally got this debate here at Parliament. And it's been quite a journey, quite literally, to get to this point. Since meeting 2 years ago, they have done not one but two charity walks, the last one covering almost over 600 miles from all four UK parliaments, ending up here at Westminster, all in a bid to try and get suicide prevention put on the national curriculum. They've also raised over £1 million for the suicide prevention charity Papyrus, and crucially, they managed to get 100,000 signatures on an e-petition. In fact, like you say, they smashed it. They got actually 160,000 signatures, which means the government had to consider a debate, and that is exactly what is happening right now at Westminster Hall behind me. The three dads are there as well. They are listening with interest, and they are adamant that suicide prevention needs to be a compulsory part of the national curriculum.
Beatrice the banana has got all of these life stresses going on. Family problems, is moving house, and has got loads of exam stresses going on. And all of a sudden, she's changed her behaviour. Could Beatrice the banana be having thoughts of suicide? Yeah? Could Beatrice the banana not be having thoughts of suicide? Yeah. So what's the next thing that we need to do? Talk to her. Talk to her, yeah.
This is exactly the sort of lesson the three dads want to see rolled out across every school in the country.
And it's really important that we ask clearly and directly about thought of suicide.
At the moment, all children are taught about mental health as part of their relationship, sex and health education lessons. But crucially, those mandatory lessons don't cover suicide awareness or prevention, and the word suicide is not used, which makes this lesson here at Wirral Grammar pretty unusual.
A lot of the time, people are worried about asking that question, are you having thought of suicide? People think that asking a question so directly might put the thought of suicide in someone's head, but I can assure you that that is 100% a myth.
Watching this lesson today is one of the three dads, Mike Palmer from Sale in Manchester. He lost his daughter Beth to suicide at the beginning of lockdown. She was 17. Joining forces with Andy and Tim, whose daughters also took their own lives, they've been campaigning to get suicide prevention put onto the school curriculum. Last year, walking 600 miles to every UK parliament and securing almost 160,000 signatures on their online petition.
We need to make it compulsory. We need to set a standard here and keep a standard. You know, many schools will do things off their own back, off their own initiative, but we need to standardise it as well.
Changes in appetite, so if you pass the pen down.
This talk today was being delivered by the Merseyside charity the Martin Gallier Project. They've been going into schools across the Wirral over the last 2 years and are 100% behind the three dads' proposals.
I think that it needs to happen. There's no two ways about it. Suicide needs to be spoken about, especially when it comes to children and young people, because they need to be given those skills to be able to support each other and support themselves and keep themselves safe and each other safe.
So you all now have an awareness that you didn't have before.
But what do the students here think about the idea of making these lessons mandatory?
I think it's a great idea. I think it's really important to reach out to as many people as possible and make it not so much a grey area but a comfortable environment that everyone can talk about and feel safe talking about.
I think it does put ideas in our heads, but I think it puts positive ideas in our heads. I think it puts in the idea that actually we can talk about it if we need to.
A lot of people think that, oh, it doesn't affect anyone in primary school. You know, children aren't suicidal or they don't struggle with mental health. But I can say with people I've talked to that it is very much still a thing, even when you're younger. So having that, even just like a low level, something they can be taught in primary school, I think will be like a really good change. Because as well, the earlier you teach people, the better.
Every school should be talking about suicide. With it being one of the biggest killers of young people under 35, it's important that we break down the stigmas, we talk about what's going on and make it not a taboo subject anymore in school.
Bethy had a whole life ahead of her, and I think if a few things had been different, she would have made a better decision, basically.
This school's now been awarded the first ever Suicide Safer School stamp, with sixth formers here even running a weekly drop-in session for other students. The three dads believe every student in every school should be given the same opportunities to learn these life skills.
Well, the MPs have been discussing this issue for the last 90 minutes. It is still going on, but what I think has been quite notable is the support, the cross-party support that has been there for this issue today. All of the MPs who've spoken seemingly in favour of these proposals, and it did get very emotional at times.
The deaths by suicide in 2021. 5,583 people died by suicide. Unfortunately, our much-loved 20-year-old nephew, Jack, died when he took his life. We will never know exactly why our Jack took his life. We miss him every day. We want to do all we can to prevent others from feeling suicide as their only way out of the pain that they feel, because it isn't. Thank you.
Well, joining me now is Jed Flynn, who's from the suicide prevention charity Papyrus. Thank you so much for joining us. You've been a huge part of the Three Dads campaign. Just tell us what you've thought from what you've seen so far of the debate, your reaction.
Well, we're at least halfway through it and I've left it to come here. Very emotional, Mel, to be honest. And as you've seen, some of the members of Parliament themselves choking up, not just in response to our three dads' losses, but some of their own lived experience of suicide as well. One of the most powerful things I heard today, apart from that personal testimony, if you will, is a couple of people saying to the Minister, in your time in office, this is probably the most important thing you will need to decide upon.
And look, you have actually called this lack of education a national scandal, haven't you?
If mums and dads watching this think that they're immune from suicide, children are already talking about it. Our message is to adults. Let's talk to them about it. It's a scandal that we're not allowing teachers to talk about it unless they're particularly concerned. We should normalise that life is difficult, and when it gets so difficult you want to end it, you can reach out and get help.
And, you know, charities like yours already go into schools. Why does this need to be mandatory?
We don't want teachers to feel that they can respond if there's a crisis. We shouldn't be saying, as the government shouldn't be saying to teachers, you can if you want to. It shouldn't just be you should. It should be you must talk about this. It will save lives. It's that simple.
Thank you so much for joining us, Jed. Well, we did ask the Secretary of State for Education for an interview. She declined, but they did say that the government schools can teach age-appropriate lessons about suicide where they think it's necessary. They've also said they've brought forward their review of the RSHE lessons guidance, and when that review is concluded, they will make a decision about whether to include suicide prevention in the curriculum. Well, the dads have also been invited to meet Gillian Keegan. They've also been been invited to meet the Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak. So there is a suggestion that there is support at the very top. And important to note today that no decision is going to be made tonight at the end of this debate, but as far as the three dads are concerned, this is not the end, this is just the next step in their campaign, and they are vowing to continue to push to get suicide prevention put onto the national curriculum.
Yes, such a powerful message. Mel, thank you very much for that. No family is immune, the message coming out loud and clear from that heartbreaking debate. And if you want to know more about the issue and the signs to look out for, we have a special podcast that's available from the North. Look out for that.
And if you've been affected by any of the issues raised, there is support on our website, itv.com/Granada. Please do have a look if you would need to.
Yeah, an issue that I'm sure we will go back to on the programme. Well, next tonight, a court has been hearing that a woman who had a sexual relationship with the man accused of shooting a 9-year-old girl in Liverpool has denied lying to police.
Yes, Thomas Cashman is accused of murdering Olivia Pratt-Corbell and injuring her mother, Cheryl Corbell, at their home in Dovecot in Liverpool.
The woman, who can't be named, had previously told a court that Cashman had gone to her home to change clothing after the shooting.
Live now to Andy Bonner, who's at Manchester Crown Court for us. And Andy, what more can you tell us?
Yeah, as you say, we heard more today from the woman who says that the defendant went to her house on the night of the shooting. The court heard the witness had previously had a sexual relationship with Thomas Cashman and at one point had been obsessed with him. But when the defendant's barrister said that she was angry that he didn't feel the same way about her, she replied, "Totally wrong. John Cooper KC proposed you were angry, resentful and vindictive towards Tommy Cashman. I was not," she answered. Sat in the witness box, shielded from public view by a curtain, the witness said that she hadn't initially told police about what she called a fling with the defendant because she was petrified. The woman said, "I didn't see the relevancy about telling them. It's about a 9-year-old girl. That's all I was bothered about." At one point during sometimes heated exchanges in the court, the judge asked the witness to look at her, take a moment and calm down. Later, the defence barrister suggested, "You want revenge on the person that upset you." "No," said the witness. "Don't put words in my mouth, please. When you get hot-headed, when you think you've been wronged, you will do what you can to make their lives as difficult as possible," he suggested. "No, no," she replied. 34-year-old Thomas Cashman from Grenadier Drive in West Derby denies the murder of Olivia Pratt-Corbell. He also denies the wounding of Olivia's mother, Cheryl, the attempted murder of Joseph Nee and 2 firearms offences. The case continues here tomorrow.
Andy, thank you.
In other news today, the courts heard 3 men try to take their own lives after false rape allegations that sparked unprecedented outcry in Barrow. 22-year-old Eleanor Williams accused a number of men of rape and posted an account on Facebook in May 2020, alleging she'd been the victim of an Asian grooming gang. It's led to protests in the town. She's expected to be sentenced on Tuesday for 9 offences of doing acts tending and intended to pervert the course of justice.
Junior doctors have been on picket lines across the region on the first of 3 days of industrial action. The unprecedented walkouts over pay and conditions are thought to be the biggest by doctors in NHS history.
Now, the subject of climate change is still very much a hot topic, especially for future generations.
Yeah, we could all learn a lot from the younger generation on this one. There's growing concern about what sort of planet they will inherit. In Chester today, pupils from a number of primary schools have been putting their thoughts into a special art exhibition.
Paul Crane went along to see some of the results currently on display in the stunning surroundings of Chester Cathedral.
Meet Taya and Rubin. They may just be 11 years old, but the 2 pupils from Satan Primary School near Chester have wise heads on young shoulders when it comes to talking about the effects of climate change. Their work, along with 8 other schools across the city, is currently on display at Chester Cathedral as part of Christian Aid's Letters for Creation project.
This picture shows a little boy crying, and he's standing on top of the world with lots of plastic bags because he's just been cleaning up a lot of litter that's been in the ocean. The rocket ship shows that the Earth is not livable anymore. You can't live on it.
Ruben's task is looking after the school's 3 rescued battery hens.
Because it's essentially getting warmer, the chickens' eggs are affected, so they won't be essentially edible to eat.
Amidst the backdrop of the cathedral, no rehearsed scripts here or regurgitated facts. The younger generation are passionate about the effects of climate change.
When I see someone dropping a plastic bag or a can of Coke, say for example, it makes me feel awful because it makes me know that it's hurting our planet.
And we want children who really believe they can make a difference and really work for the common good. And I think this exhibition has really brought that to life.
So in School Hen House we have 3 hens called Henrietta,
Henrietta,
Elizabeth and Blossom.
And Blossom. And can chickens fly?
No, they just go around doing this.
There we go, you heard it here first.
They've really taken on board the message that we can make a difference, that it's our responsibility to change the world for the better for everybody in the world. And so, yeah, they've done an absolutely amazing job.
And I've a feeling Taya is going to be teaching her elders a thing or two about looking after our planet. Paul Crone, ITV News, Chester.
The things Crony makes people do, eh?
Yeah, well done though to everyone involved in that project.
They know their stuff, those kids.
Yeah, well worth going along to Chester Cathedral to have a look at that. OK, let's take a look at what's still to come on the ITV News at 6:30 with Mary.
Coming up in the programme, Gary Lineker will be back on screen as the BBC apologises for the disruption. It's now going to review its social media guidelines as questions remain about the corporation's handling of the incident. Also tonight, tens of thousands of junior doctors are on strike over pay, with NHS bosses warning of disruption. A major incident is declared in Swansea after a suspected gas explosion. And from Manchester to Hollywood, the creative minds behind some Oscar-winning puppets. Do join me for that and more at 6:30.
Well, moving on to the Championship now, and disciplinary trouble for 2 clubs at either end of the table. Wigan Athletic will find out if they'll face punishment from the Football League this week after admitting to a delay in payment of wages. They blame liquidity issues and say it's a temporary matter. They're currently bottom of the table after a 3-0 loss at Burnley, who have their own issues. They've been placed under a transfer embargo by the EFL for submitting their accounts late. On a brighter note, the Championship leaders are just 4 wins from a return to the Premier League. Preston still have an outside chance of joining them after beating Cardiff 2-0. Elsewhere, Blackpool lost, but their neighbours Fleetwood managed a 1-1 draw with Port Vale in League One. It was also 1-1 for Accrington Stanley at Charlton. Bolton and Morecambe both lost. Stockport, though, are back on track for League Two promotion after beating Colchester 1-0. Tranmere and Rochdale both lost, but Barrow are 4 points behind the playoffs after holding Sutton to a goalless draw. Well, now to Rugby League, and a spectacular return to form for Salford Red Devils after 2 straight Super League defeats. A trip to Hull looked a tricky one, but instead they scored 10 tries. 26 points up at half-time. They went on to win 60 points to 14. Next up for them is a home clash with Wakefield this coming Sunday. And in ice hockey, Manchester Storm have clinched a playoff spot for the first time in 5 years. They actually lost 4-1 to Belfast Giants in the Elite League, but results elsewhere went in their favour, so they can look forward to a place in the quarter-finals.
Getting that winning feeling. FOW, sponsors of the Granada Sport Report.
Now, Natasha Jonas is getting used to making history, but last night was a bit special. The Liverpool boxer became the first woman to win the British Boxing Board of Control's Fighter of the Year award. Jonas won 3 world titles in 2022 to become the unified light middleweight champion. Her award goes to the best British boxer at any weight and has previously been won by the likes of Ricky Hatton, Nassim Hamed, Barry McGuigan and Lennox Lewis. She's in great company. Well done, Tasha. Delighted for her.
A great favourite of ours on Granada Reports. Thanks, Chris. Well done to Tasha. Well, now, the fairy tale ending for the film animation Pinocchio. It only went and won an Oscar.
Yeah, a night to remember for the Altrincham-based puppeteers McKinnon and Saunders.
Yeah, it's the stuff that dreams are made of. All their expertise helping to win that Oscar for the best animated feature.
It is a culmination of more than 30 years of hard work by 2 men who've been behind some of the world's most recognised puppets.
Our entertainment correspondent Caroline Whitmore has their story.
He's just a puppet. No, I'm not. I'm a real boy.
The name of the film is called Pinocchio. It's by Guillermo del Toro. Last night it was voted the best animated feature film at the Oscars.
And the Oscar goes to Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
Animation is cinema. Animation is not a genre. And animation is ready to be taken to the next step. We are all ready for it.
Congratulations on winning the Oscar.
Oh, thank you very much. You know, we were a little bit nervous about it, but it came good in the end.
You make the puppets here in Altrincham. Now you're part of a Hollywood blockbuster.
We keep a low profile, and that's the way we like it. But, you know, we've worked with Tim Burton and Wes Anderson and a whole load of other people. So, yeah, we love what we do, but we're kind of, you know, we're quite shy and retiring people.
They're all busy at work behind you, so there's been no day off as a celebration, I see.
No, absolutely no day off. They're in here at 9 o'clock, and anybody who was late, you know, gets punished. My business partner Ian McKinnon is over there at this moment, still partying at the Vanity Fair Oscars party. Spoke to him this morning, couldn't hear a word he said. He got to go, I drew the short straw.
The film's won a Golden Globe, a BAFTA, and now the Big E, an Oscar. You know,
Yeah.
Did you ever imagine that? It's been a long time in the making, hasn't it?
Yeah, we first got involved in 2008 with the project, and it's been a long time, 15 years coming. There were times when we thought the film would never actually get made, but it did. We didn't dream at all that it would ever get an Oscar, but it's fantastic that it has done.
I'm holding Geppetto here,
Yeah.
and you're holding Pinocchio.
Yeah.
Just how long does it take for you to make these puppets?
A puppet like Geppetto and Pinocchio can take, you know, best part of 6 to 9 months just to make one puppet.
Wow.
And then we have to make like 20 duplicates of them. So it's a slow process.
How are you going to celebrate over here in Altrincham?
Well, I've had a cup of tea already and a bacon sandwich. But, you know, maybe have a curry tonight. Who knows? Really push the boat out. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Peter, you and your team.
Thank you very much.
Tea and a bacon sandwich, I love it.
Very understated.
Congratulations.
Here's Emma.
Mom, wet wipes, toilet or bin?
Bin. Why?
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada Weather.
Hello there, I hope you had a good day today. In spite of the weather, it was wet and windy, and although this may not be representative of the weather itself, it does show the seesaw of temperatures that we're expecting this week. They really will be all over the place, a proper roller coaster, but more on that in a second. Today we had maximum recorded gusts of 40 miles an hour in Blackpool, 49 miles an hour in Shap. It really was very wet and windy across our patch, and tonight that rain turns to snow and then ice as the showers clear away. So this was the setup today. You can see the milder air across us, but actually cold air from the north takes a swipe at us overnight tonight and into tomorrow before these fronts push in from the west on Thursday, introducing milder air once again, but also more unsettled climes for the back end of the week. So tomorrow we expect 2 to 5 centimetres of snow settling above 200 to 300 metres. Snow could fall to lower levels, but probably won't stick, and there could be some sleet and wet snow in the mix there as well. So for the rest of the overnight period, you see these showers sinking southwards, turning to snow, but as they clear away, leaving us with a legacy of widespread icy stretches and also some frost. Yes, it's going to be still quite gusty out there, gusts of 30, 35 miles an hour, maybe stronger gusts across the Isle of Man. Could be pretty lively there through the Irish Sea, but not as breezy as it was today. Here is sunrise and sunset times for tomorrow. The sun's up at 6:29, and it's going to be a cold, icy start to the day, quite bright as well. 1 or 2 more showers keep coming, but plenty of sunny intervals in between. As you see, those showers could turn quite wintry. Those temperatures slashed in half from what they were like today, and with a wind chill added on, they're going to feel more like freezing. There'll be a widespread frost again, under ice again overnight into Wednesday, but Wednesday mostly fine till later in the day. Bye-bye.
Cleaned up well. United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
You're not a fan of Pinocchio, are you?
Well, I loved the Altrincham version, but no, as a child, I hated the idea your nose would grow if you lied.
Bye-bye.
Bye.